Yep. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 166 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills helps you improve your table tennis. Now, Sam Thompson's 166 runners batted in 1887 stood as a Major League Baseball record until Babe Ruth broke it in 1921. For Throwback Thursday, we'll be looking at a PingSkills masterclass on fast pushing. In the questions, we'll talk a lot about serving. We'll discuss strategy, contact points, and George Roskop's unconventional but effective grip for his pendulum serve. We'll also discuss the top player's preference for the backhand flick over the forehand flick. I'm Jeff Plum, and as always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is here with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And yes, you're sounding a bit more peppy and sprightly. You starting to get used to these 6:30 mornings again, are you, Jeffrey?
Not at all. Too early, man. Need more sleep. Oh dear. But the internet connection seems really good, Alois. That's good to note.
It does. And I've got a good on this day. Well, good, bad. On this day, 1961, East Berlin is cut off from the West by the Berlin Wall. So, yeah, 1961 doesn't seem all that long ago, does it?
No, it doesn't. There we go. And it stood till 1989, I believe.
Yeah, about then. That's right. Yeah, 1989. That's correct. So, yeah, not all that long. But yeah, huge impact on the world, obviously.
Yeah, certainly was. I like it. Good this day in history. All right, now, yesterday's PingSkills question of the day was, will Zhu Yuling win the 2000 Olympic women's singles?
Yeah, so a few differing thoughts. So Ankush said, yes, she is in top form. And George Christou said, perhaps maybe she caught Ding Ding on an off day. I'll have to watch their match. But Sammy doesn't sound like a Zhu Yuling fan at all. No, she will not be given the chance to play in the singles competition. Ding Ding and Liu Shiwen. When it comes to the important tournaments such as World Championships and World Cup qualifiers where both pliers are fully motivated, Zhu Yuling misses the mark each time.
Wow.
E.g., World Championships lost 4-1 to Liu Shiwen and lost also 4-2 to her in the Asian Cup. So, yeah, a bit harsh on Zhu Yuling. And having a look at Zhu Yuling, she is just 20 years old, turned 20 in January this year. So with a win-loss in 2015 of 16-3, winning a title, and also career win-loss of 59-14. So at just 20, I think, another year under her belt, yeah, who knows? And is it 2 or 3 players from a country that are allowed into the Olympics? Is it only 2, perhaps?
Yeah, I think the Olympics is pretty strict, isn't it? I think only 2 in the singles.
Okay, yeah, maybe China gets an extra one though for World Champions or something like that. But anyway, yeah, interesting to note. Yeah, if it's 2, then it's a tough decision, isn't it?
I mean, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we said about the China Open. Probably a tougher event to win because a bigger Chinese field. So yeah. Anyway, I think she's a chance if she's given a chance.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, that moves us on to the PingSkills question of the day, which is, when does enough training become too much? So jump onto our Facebook page at facebook.com/PingSkills or onto our blog at pingskills.com and answer the question. Get involved. We love hearing your thoughts. When does enough training become too much? All right, now for Throwback Thursday, Alois, we're going to a PingSkills masterclass on fast pushing. What do we need to know about fast pushing?
Yeah, so fast pushing, it's an interesting one, isn't it? We focus a lot on the short push and keeping it tight and making sure that your opponent doesn't get that first attack. But and I think Jeff's a real fan of the fast push as a variation. So it's important that if you are finding that you're trying to push the ball short and your opponent is beating you at that short game, or their flick is really good off the short ball, then you need to add some variation. You need to change something up. And a fast push is a good variation to throw in, especially just once every now and then. So if you're always pushing short, your opponent can basically just come in and sit close to the table and be ready for that push. Whereas if you are pushing the ball deep and fast sometimes, then they don't have that luxury of just sitting close to the table. So can be a really effective stroke when used well. So the important things are with the fast push, make sure it goes deep and fast. So if you just play a half long push and it's not that fast, you're just inviting trouble. Your opponent's just going to get in there and make the attack at you. But if you can get that ball deep, close to their end line, and put a little bit of speed on it, then that really cuts down their options. So yeah, work on the fast push sometimes as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, Alois, it's important to make sure it's effective. So make sure it's deep, place it well. So maybe into their middle, maybe out wide. And also, it can be quite effective to get a lot of backspin on it as well. But that kind of, you got to balance that up with the speed. But yeah, really effective shot. So because it's Throwback Thursday, next time you go out and practice, work on a bit of fast pushing and then try it out in a game just every now and again. Try and catch your opponent off guard. Really good tactic. All right. Into the questions, Alois. And as I said, we're going to talk a lot about serving. First up, Aria Man says, during a match, is it really important to execute a serve randomly or in a definite pattern or manner? And can you tell me a serve which is ideal for both the state level as well as a national level player?
Yeah. So with your choice of serves, I think you have to be really open during the game. So especially early on, you need to experiment a little bit with what serves working, even if it's an opponent that you are used to. So I used to find that players, one day would be able to return a certain serve well and other days not. And sometimes your own serve performs better. Some days you just can get a better feel for the serve or, one way or the other. So even if you're used to the opponent, just vary your serves early on in the match. Then each point becomes different, so if I serve the short topspin serve and my opponent pops it up, 3 foot in the air, then the choice for my next serve is going to probably be that same one again and just see how they cope with it the second time. But if I do that short topspin serve and they flick it away for a winner, then the choice for the next serve is going to be something completely different. So you need to read each point, each play, what's happening in the game, and then choose your serve. So I don't think you can go in there and say, well, I'm going to serve this serve, then this serve, then this serve, then this serve, during the match. You have to be open to change.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I understand this question well, Alois. I think even before I started ever playing at a club, I played a little bit with my uncle, and he gave me some advice on serving about, varying your serve. Don't always do the same serve. You've got the whole table to work with, which is good advice. And then, yeah, it does get you thinking. And I was thinking, all right, well, I've got to vary my serve. So maybe I should, and back then you had 5 serves in a row, Alice. So I was kind of thinking, all right, maybe I should do, a first serve short to the forehand, the next one fast into the backhand, and the next one, and plan out 5 serves. And it sounds like a good idea, but as you said, in a match, it doesn't really work because, your opponent might stand somewhere where it doesn't make sense to do a fast serve into the backhand, or you might do that and they play it really well. So you won't, if your next serve was the same, you wouldn't do it. So like you said, it's just important to be open, but do remember you got the whole table to work with. So during practice, work on your serves and get a good variety of serves and then test them out in a match. And yeah, be open and see how it goes. Now,
Yeah, and
yep.
Ariman's also asked about what's a good serve that's ideal for both the state level and national level players. There isn't one serve, Ariman. It's just whatever serve that you want to develop. You can use the pendulum, the backhand, the tomahawk, the high toss, the whatever. It's just developing those serves to a level that you can utilize against better players.
Yeah, so if you do the pendulum serve at a state level, if you keep developing it, it can be effective at the national level. So yeah, it's more about just developing your serve, getting more spin, more speed, more variation on your serves. Just keep working on your serves. That's the best advice we can give. Good question. Now, next question up is from Il, who says, when I serve, is the point of contact on the ball exactly in front of the body or not always?
Okay. Yeah, so when you're serving, so if you're doing, say, the pendulum serve, if you try to hit the ball from directly in front of your body with the pendulum serve, it's difficult to utilize your wrist as well when the arm's there. So it's easier if you've got your wrist or the contact point a little bit further back. So from there, you can utilize the wrist better. So if you think about your the hip that's furthest away from the table, yeah, as your contact point. So from there rather than there. So from there, it's a little bit more awkward to get that wrist action. From there, you can use the wrist and the forearm a little bit better. So here compared to here. Yep. So for right-handers, it'd be the right hip. Left-handers, it'd be the left hip.
Yeah, good question, Il, and good to see you thinking about this type of thing and, analyzing your serve. And a good way to learn about this is watch some of the top players and just examine their serves. And you can do that on the ITTV site, which is part of the ITTF website. Just go to ittf.com and I'll have a ITTV link, and you can see all the latest tournaments. It's really good to watch the top players, so make sure you check that out. And yeah, so for, like Alois said, different serves, different contact points. The pendulum more closer to the back hip. If you're doing the backhand serve, that really is, you're standing front onto the table and more in front of you. So check that out. And if you really want to improve your serve, people, check out PingSkills Premium Membership. We've got a whole course called Serving Secrets. It takes you through all those types of serves and how to generate spin and service tactics. So, if you really want to improve your serve, go to pingskills.com and check out the premium membership. And along with that, you also get a 52-week training plan, a receiving secrets course, match strategy, lots of great information. All right, Alois. To mix up the serving questions, we've got a slightly different one from Tam, who says, hi, PingSkills. Why do the top players only backhand flick or touch serves that come to their forehand and not forehand flick?
Yeah. So again, this is a development over the last 5-10 years that where it's really developed to the stage where top players are utilizing their backhand flick a lot more. So the reason that they use their backhand flick is because you can utilize your wrist a lot better. So off the backspin ball or off the topspin, you can really utilize the wrist better than you can with the forehand flick. So that's why they're getting around and utilizing the backhand flick more. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, when I played Alois, no one would ever step around to the forehand side to return a serve with a backhand. But now it's just common. I mean, yeah, the development of that backhand side spin flick where you can really get that wrist around has completely changed the way people return serves. And they often get ready to do that flick. And if they are caught out wide on their forehand, they're not in a position to do the flick. So you're right, Tam. It's unusual these days to see a forehand flick. Completely changed the game. All right. Next up is a question from Marson, who says, George Roscoff used a different grip for the pendulum serve. He had all his fingers spread out on the backhand side rubber. Is there someone else doing this grip now? When I tried it, it felt pretty good, extremely stable. Are there any disadvantages?
Yeah, so what he's talking about is having so for the pendulum serve there, having all the fingers on the back of the racket. It definitely adds a lot of stability. So you feel like you've got a better grip on the bat. The main disadvantage though is that by having the fingers out like that, you're locking your wrist a little bit more. So it's harder to utilize your wrist as well. So with the one finger or with the one finger on the back there or there, you can utilize your wrist a lot better than you can with all the fingers spread along the back. And so utilizing your wrist translates to faster racket speed, which translates to more spin. So that's the main disadvantage, but you probably feel like you get much better control over the racket head when you're doing that.
Yeah. So I guess, Alois, when you're looking at these things and deciding yourself what service grip to use, it's probably good to look at like the top players and see what the most common grip is, because that's going to give you the best chance at developing better. That's my feeling anyway. I mean, you can use these alternative grips if their personal preferences, and obviously, it worked for your George Roscoff, a fantastic way. So obviously it works for him. But he's just one person that uses it, and there's all these other players that use it. So in terms of your development, I'd say that you're better off sticking with the grip that the majority of players use. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. So, there's always the exception to the norm or the rule, and that works. It works for some people and it works well for some people. But, if you're trying to develop a strategy to start off with, it's probably, as Jeff said, it's easiest to copy what the majority of the top players in the world are doing, okay? Because that has developed over time and with lots of experimentation.
Yeah. But like you said, there's always exceptions and, always developments. And, like we talked about, if you never learned the backhand flick, someone had to come up with that and learn it. So, it does take special things to come along sometimes to progress the game. But yeah, our advice probably be stick with the normal grip unless you really, really prefer the other grip. Good question, Martin. Well, Alois, that wraps up an exciting show. A lot of information about serving there. So everybody get out, practice your serving. Such an important part of the game. Spend a lot of time on your serve and you'll notice big results. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And thank you, Alois.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. And I hope you enjoyed the show, PingSkillers, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
We will, yes. I think this is our last show for the week, so we will be back probably on Monday. Thank you, everyone, and have a great weekend. Enjoy your table tennis.